All right, there we are. We're live. All right, everybody.
All right, live.
I don't know what kind of reception we're gonna get since we're like we're late on the East Coast and we're somewhat at a good time on the Pacific Coast. Yep. I didn't advertise or promote this a whole ton just because I've been really busy. But anyways, bottom line, we're live. This is the MCU's Bleeding Edge. For the first time, I actually have my really good friend Eric Langford and my kind of a good friend potentially Curtis from Rizzle. My fellow Rizzlers, my special guest host, Cybernetic Shark, as usual, is in his position, anchoring the show, and of course Jeff Sloboda, although I'm known by many names, asshole being one of them. But I
was wondering how Sloboda was pronounced, so that's cool.
Oh, you couldn't? I'm surprised you couldn't figure that out. It's spelled. It sounds just like it spells. SLOB.
Yeah, I kind of thought like Sloboda. Like I don't know. So I screwed it up. So it's good that I learned. I got away with never saying it wrong, and I blew it just now.
No, you're right though. You're right because without knowing, you wouldn't know that O is like a hard O.
Well, I should think of soda, right?
Well, the only way I can think of that you'd ever really know would be if you paid attention to hockey, because there's been a lot of Svobodas in hockey over the years, not like my name with a V, Svoboda.
Yeah.
It's Czechoslovakian. It's Czechoslovakian. I'm Czechoslovakian and Italian. That's my heritage.
No kidding.
Yeah. Like straight up. Like I'm purebred, like Czechoslovakian and Italian.
Sweet.
Hence my darker tone, which some people occasionally mistake as being Hispanic.
I'm like every nationality that's raped and pillaged somebody. So
I really look that dark, Cyber?
No.
I was gonna say, I swear to God, I'm not BSing you.
I could have sworn you were black.
I'm not BSing you. I've gone into gas stations here in Florida and walked up to pay for something and had the attendant speak Spanish to me, thinking that I was Hispanic. I swear to God.
Oh,
you must tan really well.
It was when I was tan.
The lighting.
Yeah, Cyber.
On video here, you looked whiter than white. So.
No, Cyber. You got to think, man. I don't work anymore. When I used to work in the field and everything and whatnot, and be in the sun every day to some extent, I used to tan hardcore, dude, and I get really dark.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, all right, here we are. So here it is, the MCU's Bleeding Edge. This is a Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 2 review. Essentially what we're going to do is I outlined like 3/4 of the episode and just figured we wing it for the rest of it from there. You know what I mean? Because we all watched it, so it's all fresh. I feel fresh with it, honestly, it was one of those episodes where I didn't need to watch it a second time. I really didn't. I
watched it a second time just because I wanted to. So
no, I'm going to. I'm because we still got to do our review. Just so you know, folks, Wednesday evening, 9 p.m. Eastern time, Cyber, myself, and Perry Ramsey will be doing our own review for episode 2. Hopefully, I haven't talked to Cyber about it yet, but then hopefully maybe including a preview for episode 3, just to kind of just to change things up a little bit since we're already doing a review now. We don't want to beat a dead horse on Wednesday. So, but we're trying to lock that spot down. We're trying to make Wednesday evening be our home turf and shit when it comes to live streaming MCU content. So, I want to thank Eric very much for coming on. I want to thank him and also thank him doubly and let him know that I genuinely appreciate him tolerating my shitty dick attitude earlier this evening when him and I were trying to message each other back on Instagram and figure out what was going on tonight. I totally went into dick mode for 5 minutes and I feel like a total asshole. I do.
Is what he thinks.
No, I did. I could pull up the freaking messages. I was I specifically did this show for you and all this other stuff and everything and whatnot.
20 people in this world are going to try to call you a dick. You don't have to be one of them.
You know what? You're right, Eric.
Neither do I.
Thank you for reminding me. Is that nice, Cyber? Nice. It was nice of you, Eric, to remind me of my status on Rizzle as the most hated person on the app. I appreciate that.
Are you?
Yeah. Are you kidding me?
I cannot stress enough how little I have been on Rizzle.
I'm the most hated person on the app that's still on the app. There's people who have been worse on Rizzle than me, but they're already off the app. I'm still on, surviving and shit.
Like that dude Seagrams.
Were
you around for that?
I'm thriving, baby. I'm thriving.
He's thriving.
All right.
He's the number one.
I don't know what my deal is with Rizzle. I mean, they let me do my thing. You know, like I mean, I'm very outspoken. You know, like people know that. I mean, I'm not.
With some websites, traffic is traffic.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know what? Honestly, I've told Cyber. I think they just basically look at me as like, you know what? He throws up good numbers and shit. Like he's a popular content creator, and he does kind of give balance to the app, you know, from a political perspective. Because I am on the right, just to put it out there. You know, I'm not, you know, whatever.
It's not a political app, but sure. I mean,
but you know what? If you look at the views and like what's popular on Rizzle, the political stuff is what really gets people going and really gets the views.
Well, that's because political stuff is naturally divisive.
Yeah, and think about the last couple of years in particular. Like, it's the fun thing to fight about. That's so.
Well, I mean,
thing that people aren't going to budge on, but they will dig their heels in endlessly to fight for their side, and at some point it gets boring for people. But for some people, it's
still fun.
It's still fun.
Well, I mean, I don't fit in that dichotomy. I come at it with straight facts, truth, evidence, integrity. You know what I'm saying? Honor, and like I don't talk about nothing unless I know what I'm talking about. So
everyone does that. So.
I mean, straight up, like all that ends up happening to me on Rizzle is just that I go out and say facts and like tell the truth about issues and stuff in history, and all kinds of people on the left just like target me and like send me videos and tell me, "F you, you white supremacist. I hate you. Go F yourself." Like, I get that. I mean, that's like a regular thing for me.
Well, we are off to a great start on our Winter Soldier review.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Cyber knows. We always end up segueing a little bit in the beginning.
The funny thing is, yeah, you messaged me about trying to keep the politics and that separate on this, and I was like, good luck, Captain America.
Hold on. I said to you that I'm trying to find a balance with my content where I'm trying to make a clear separation, and I am. I'm telling you right now, I made a decision that I'm no longer going to make content on YouTube that's political at all. I'm just going to stick to the MCU.
Oh.
It's safer. It's safer.
But again, though, good luck with Captain America.
With Captain America, especially when you're dealing with the Winter Soldier and the Falcon, like there are some things that can't be avoided that are just naturally political.
Well, and just Captain America was originally made as like a World War II, you know, go get 'em thing, you know? Like that's like the whole point. It's like rooted in American history, and like the way they've tried to adapt the character in the comics over the years rides right along with it. So
well, we have a comment from the comment section. Can I get a hunya? I don't know what that means.
Can I get a
yeah, hunya, man.
I think they meant hiya.
Hiya.
I don't know. They're calling themselves the Italian Stallion. We got Rocky out there. Is that Sylvester Stallone?
Oh God.
I guess so, man. I guess it's Sylvester.
Ooh.
All right. So since Captain America got dropped and everything, and that's an MCU word, why don't we just go ahead and get started into the actual show? Let me start from the beginning. And what I want you guys to do is basically look. Let me get started. Let me go ahead and relay kind of how the show started, where things went.
Yeah.
And I want you to feel free to jump in whenever you feel like, you know, I'm talking about something where you want to get in on or whatever. I'll be paying attention. If you want to get in or whatever, just talk with me. Just jump in and be like, hey, you know what? Just jump in.
Hey, Jeff, shut up for a second.
I'm just gonna give you guys some structure to work with. And then I want some opinions. I want some you know, some thoughts.
My right hand's jacked up. So.
Yeah.
I think we get what you're saying.
Yes.
Yes, I think you do too.
We get you, Jeff.
All right, we're good.
Okay.
All right, so basically, everybody out there. All right. Oh, wrong page. Okay, so we all know how the show started. It starts off with John Walker, the new Captain America. He's at his high school that he went to. He actually sees his locker and takes like the tape off of it and sees his old like name and everything and number on the locker and everything. And honestly, I don't know. You guys tell me. They really portrayed him as a really good guy from the jump. Cyber?
Most definitely. I mean, you definitely get a feeling that they're trying to, make him be like all-American, very similar to Steve Rogers. I mean, you get that from the get-go, from the episode. So the fact that, when he goes on and starts talking about his background, and stuff like that. And throughout the episode, there's like incidences where, they throw things out there and he's like, oh yeah, I did that and I did that. So, I mean, yeah, definitely off the get-go from that beginning scene, you definitely get that like kind of idea or that premise that they're trying to make him seem like he is like, the same level as Steve almost.
Yeah, definitely. And Eric, what do you think? I mean, did they not? I mean, I'm talking about the opening scene, basically. Just that.
I know.
Here's the thing with that locker room scene, with all that talk.
Mm-hmm.
If you put in your head the context, and I'll explain why I put this context on there in a second. What is he talking about? Is he talking about living up to America, or is he talking about living up to the agency of people who have super soldier serum in them?
He's talking about America. He's talking about America.
How do you know?
He is.
Okay, so U.S. agent, I don't know everything about him in the comics, but I do know that was in The Lone Ranger. It was when we started talking about how this trope pops up in every movie. Every time the person in charge is trying to be your friend, who's like the leader in government, who's new, they are the bad guy.
Yeah.
Like Green Hornet, the guy who is trying to run for government, who wants to take charge in the newspaper. He's played by the guy, David Harbour from Stranger Things. Well, he turns out to be the bad guy. Again, he was in The Lone Ranger, the government official who is trying to get the train tracks built. Well, he's in league with the bad guy.
And then most recently in Chaos Walking, where the sheriff of the town is trying to...
what's his name? Who played Hannibal? Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah, Mads. Yeah. Him. He's the official of the town who's doing his best for the town. But oops, he's the villain.
Yep. There's always, and if you listen to that locker room speak, and I double checked this because I did watch this twice. When he talks, the things that he's saying are like, I have a lot riding on my shoulders. I can't let everyone down. Mm-hmm. All these things can apply to both America and the shoes of Captain America and a hypothetical other team he could be for where he has this big role to play. Yeah, so I'm just saying the door's open for a twist.
There's nothing wrong with theorizing. I agree with you. There's nothing wrong with theorizing. But really, from a comic book standpoint, his character, the U.S. agent, John Walker, is very patriotic. Like, he does very much, like, he cares about America deeply. He's a decorated soldier, which they showed in the episode, he's obviously risked his life for the country multiple times. And at the same time, he really does like idolize Captain America, like without question. Like, you know what I mean? What they kind of showed it a little bit in that initial sequence, but he really does. Like, he looks, I mean, everyone does.
To that point, there are scenes where he is genuine, or at least he seems genuine, where he says he's not trying to be Steve Rogers. He's trying to live up to
the best Captain America he can be.
He's trying to live up to the ideals that Steve Rogers set out without being Steve Rogers. So I get where you're coming from there, but there's still this setup where it looks like there's someone pulling his strings. And that's where my mistrust of the character comes in.
Well, I mean, just from what I know about the series overall already, from leaks and rumors and stuff like that, there's going to be somebody pulling his strings at some point during the show, and it's probably going to be Thunderbolt Ross.
That's what we're thinking.
Yeah. Okay. So can we jump to that?
Yeah. No. Hold on. So
okay.
Ross. But I really do. I want to tell you, I really do. At least my take from that opening scene was that he really was being himself. I mean, his wife. His wife comes in. His wife is his high school sweetheart. I mean, how rare is that?
You know she is his wife?
That was his wife.
That wasn't really
explicit
in the episode.
That was his wife.
I got that. I got that they were in some sort of relationship. I didn't know if it was marital or not.
Well, because then she walks at his friend and says it's your turn.
That was his wife talking about how she would visit that locker room like every Friday or whatever to see him before games and stuff like that.
And he's like, "That's why we won." Yeah.
So he's that kind of guy. Like, he's a loyal guy. Like, he's a guy that sticks. You know what I mean? Like, he's loyal to the country. He's loyal to his wife. Like, he does have.
That's curious because she is too, and so it's like I wonder if she has a role to play in the rest of it.
He has a moral compass. The problem is that he's compromised because he has really bad PTSD from all his tours in the Middle East and shit like that. You know what I mean? And
his wife is going to act as like his true north for the episode. Like,
yeah, that's what he said. Moral compass. Yeah,
that's true. Okay.
Yeah, and he's also very, very, very violent. Like, he's very violent. Like, that's where he's really going to be different than Steve Rogers. He's not afraid to kill people.
Neither was Steve Rogers, though.
Well, no, but the thing is like, I mean, bottom line, Steve always, even when Steve had a gun in any of the MCU stuff, he was always shooting, like, basically to wound. Like, he was never, or he was, like, just trying to, like, fire back. He was never trying to kill people.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I think the Avengers kill people.
Yeah, they do. No, they do. They do. Don't get me wrong.
Nazis in
I'm just saying, in general, Steve Rogers, Captain America, is not out there looking to kill people. He's not. Like, that's not his deal.
I get that. No.
But John
There's definitely
Walker,
a difference between the two.
Yeah, John Walker, like, is not afraid. I mean, you saw him pull that gun out and shoot that guy.
Yeah, but like what's the big shot from the first Avenger is Captain America walk in with his shield with everyone behind him, gun went forward, blam into the room.
But that was World War II.
Just like a wink at that.
But that was World War II. Cyber, you know what I'm talking about. That was World War II. That was a different situation.
Yeah, that was completely different. That's not like modern.
Well, I'm just saying, I didn't think this made John Walker seem any more sinister.
Yeah.
I feel like it was clear, like the World War II scene, who the bad guys were, what the stakes were, because they want to basically go back to the way the blip was, which means their goal is to murder like half of everything.
You still can't compare that to World War II. You still can't compare that to World War II, man. I mean, we were fighting the Nazis. Like, they were going to take over the world. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, they're trying to kill half of the entire world.
Yeah, they were trying to end democracy as we know it and everything and whatnot. So
and this one is trying to end democracy and make one government for the whole world.
So I get that, but my point is that from a standpoint of like value, like power, like impact. What went on in World War II?
They want to murder half of all living things.
Right. I get that. But my point is that they don't have the Red Skull leading their operation, and they don't have an army with 18 million troops and everything and whatnot.
Okay.
And they haven't taken over. They haven't taken over Europe. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, like, at that point, I mean, honestly, like, the only reason that the UK and like Switzerland didn't get invaded by the Nazis was geography. You know what I mean? Like, the Nazis just didn't have time for them yet.
I get what you're saying, but what this episode does go into is that this underground group, the Flag Crushers, is growing in popularity. They are growing in numbers.
And all over Europe.
Yeah, they are becoming more and more of a threat with a very similar ideology as far as conquest goes that the Nazis did in World War II.
Well, I was just going to say something. I just don't think him pulling a gun made him feel any more sinister than Captain America.
I don't think that either. So,
no, that's a good point. It didn't make him more sinister than Captain America, but I still felt the tone of it was very different than like Steve Rogers in the first Captain America film, because when you would see him come in, with his shield and his handgun, like, he was shooting and everything, it wasn't as precise and like divisive and like powerful and like clear as John Walker when he pulled out that freaking handgun so quick and just shot a dude. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't even hesitate. I mean, look, like, honestly, are these terrorists? They are. Don't get me wrong. But I mean, like, it's clear just from that little clip and how he acted that he's capable of much more than that.
Okay.
I can say.
So anyways, bottom line, we get the John Walker scene. He runs out there in the field and everything and whatnot. Obviously, everybody loves him as new Captain America. I mean, he's, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Why does everyone love him? Is that to make the viewers, like, not love him? Because, like,
Cyber, you take this. Go ahead, Cyber.
So, I mean, why do they love him?
Yeah.
I mean, are you saying in general, why do they love him? Or
like, for example, in reality,
mm-hmm.
if it was just a casting announcement, we're going to recast Chris Evans. Here's your new Captain America. Everyone's going to go, yay, our new Captain America.
Okay.
No. Like, so You could have had some people be like, "Not my cap," like with a poster up or something like that. I don't know.
I mean, I've seen a lot of
generally
chatter on different
I
social
guess.
media sites about, this is not my cap. I've seen a lot of that about, Wyatt Russell's performance.
Well, no, I'm saying in the show.
Yeah.
In the show.
Why are all the people in the universe just like ready?
Right.
And they all have.
They kind of explained that in the first episode, saying that the world needs another Steve Rogers, another Captain America to give hope to. So that's why
they're following him this long.
So the government, whoever is a part of this, is bringing the new Captain America into power. Basically,
it was the government. Yeah.
Basically they are making people want to love him because he represents what Steve represented. Basically, that they're trying to give them the new hope again, so that people will want to abide and listen and be happy again.
And even the people who would have disagreed with Captain America after like the years of him being a fugitive, they wouldn't be at the rally.
No. So the thing that I'm getting from the explanation is that there's enough fear and discord within the group that they're willing to accept a new symbol just like that because of Captain America.
Hold on, no. The world after the blip, right? After the blip, and then Hulk snap and everything and whatnot, and everybody coming back and everything. The world is in disarray. Like literally, like the world is in disarray. All of the treaties, all of the connections between different countries and everything are all astray. Like everything is shaky. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no sense of peace. There's no sense of stability. Okay. Like the world is all over the place.
They're all refugees and like off.
Yes. Like think about it. Think about it. Millions and millions of people came back out of nowhere, and all of a sudden, and they were considered dead. So all of a sudden, they had to be reintegrated into society, given places to live. Like their homes have been taken over. Like you know what I mean? Like a lot of stuff happened, and like
a lot of people are feeling unsafe, unsecure. So you give them something that feels.
Also during the blip, there was almost like a lawlessness, I think, in the world where order and law and order were not really as in place as usual. Like because of all the people just disappearing, like people kind of just let things go. And at that point, terrorist organizations, criminal organizations, the mafia,
everyone was killing.
All these groups have had an opportunity to now like elevate themselves and almost like going back to back in the day, the old school back when the mafia in Italy actually was like somewhat good and bad. It's the same kind of deal. Like people like the Flag Smashers are looked at as like good. You know what I mean? Like doing positive things for people.
So quick question. Is this kind of how...
Does that make sense? That was pretty good, wasn't it?
Yeah, I agree.
What? I missed that completely. What?
No, just saying that like that was a pretty good like equation there that I put together. Like don't worry about it.
I only have one question about it, which is half of everyone is half of everyone. That means half the police are still there when half the mafia is still there.
Wait a minute. Was it half?
Yes, half of all life in the universe.
Okay, it was half. All right, so half, yes.
So I'm not sure if this... I definitely think all the systems were broken down. I think what they're implying is that the world was operating as like one united country or something like that. And that's
not really, no. What I think
that's what the terrorists in this show
what they're talking about is the fact that things broke down to a standpoint where, think about it. When you're a bureaucracy, right, like a government, right? Think about our federal government. When you're a bureaucracy and you lose half your people, all of a sudden things aren't going to work so well. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, at that point, things start to become kind of like lawless. You start to get black markets and shit like that. You start getting, you know what I mean? Like that starts to happen. That's just human nature. That's how society ends up, going. At that point, like, at that point,
I wish we'd see more of it. We saw.
We're going to. As we get into more of these Disney Plus series, they're going to give us more and more information about what happened during the blip, what happened after Endgame. It's obvious to me, and you guys can tell me what you think. It's obvious to me that from WandaVision, we know that the Avengers and whoever else, and Tony Stark, or not Tony Stark, but the Avengers, the government, went out and told everybody what the Avengers did with Endgame, with Thanos and everything and whatnot. That's all been explored. That's all been explained to everybody, you know. And at that point, right, I believe that they basically just said, you know what, Captain America's dead. That's what I think happened. So at that point, Steve Rogers is dead.
Yeah, supposedly.
Yeah, I mean, what else would they say? If you think about it, common sense standpoint, how else would they explain the situation? He died during the battle. So at that point, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a funeral, like a fake funeral or something.
That's why the dude has the conspiracy theory about him being on the moon. Like,
yeah, at some point, I wouldn't be surprised if it's some episode.
They probably publicly said he's dead. Yeah,
there could be a fake funeral where they just do like a mock funeral for him or whatever. You know what I mean? Like with no, or you know, I mean, just because he's dead to the world. That's why everybody's embracing the new Captain America. The old Captain America is dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, you got to give hope.
Yeah.
And Steve Rogers, aka Captain America, was considered hope for the country. Even all the people that blipped came back after half the population was gone. Even though we have chaos going on, I mean, people are going to still need some sort of hope. And that's what his image was. And that's why the government decided to give another Captain America, so that they give that image of hope is basically what his purpose, John Walker's purpose is right now. Is just, it's nothing else but that. And I'm sure as we get further into the series, we'll learn more about actually what John Walker is about.
So to simplify this, like to make a cross-universe reference, Captain America's symbol is equivalent to that of Superman's symbol, where he's a character that invokes unity, is what you're kind of saying, correct?
He's beyond Superman. He's like literally the heart and soul and like the bones and the blood of America. That's what he stands for. Like he's literally like he embodies everything that's good, righteous, patriotic, and at the same time humble. You know what I mean? I mean, Steve Rogers, Captain America, never asked anybody for anything. He never wanted anything from anybody. You know what I mean? Like he just wanted to help people and do the right thing. He was a pure person. I mean, why do you think Sam is so like
incorruptible? Yeah.
Why do you think Sam is so uncomfortable taking his shoes? Like Sam idolized Captain America. Everybody idolized Captain America. All these people in this MCU universe, even when he went rebel, even when he took off and like for 2 years, like they said in episode 1, it was 2 years that they were gone. That they were like rebel, just basically running from the law or whatever. Even at that point, the majority of the people in the country still supported Captain America.
Cool. Okay.
You know what I mean? Like how could you hate him? Like, I mean, all he does is sacrifice himself left and right to try to help other people. So yeah, like, I mean, like he's different than Superman. I mean, Superman has he has powers that are at like a cosmic level, like beyond cosmic. Captain America's just a regular dude with super soldier serum who looks normal and can't like shoot eye beams or like shoot laser, blasts or anything like Captain Marvel. He just fights people with hand to hand and shit with a shield.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I mean, if it was me, if I think about it hypothetically, and I put myself in a reality where there's a Captain America really in this, like we have one in our society or whatnot, in our world, I would fucking idolize Captain America. I would worship him.
Sure.
Why would you?
If we had one, then yeah, for sure.
I mean, yeah.
It would. I got a fun question. Then, if the government told you he has broken laws, he is on the run, he's a fugitive, he won't be reined in, he refuses to work with America, you'd still be on his side?
Yeah. I'm loyal. I stick.
Yeah. So if you had to be Cap versus America,
Eric,
you'd be on Cap's side?
You haven't figured out by now that I'm a gut reaction guy. Like, I make my decisions very quickly in life on things. I'm very black and white. It only takes me 3 or 4 seconds to decide where I'm at on things.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting that, like, in this universe, you have a bunch of people, like, obviously, if I had to pick between, like, Thunderbolt Ross and Captain America, I'm picking Captain America.
Right.
But the universe at large is a bunch of people who it's like, Captain America could have agreed to work with the government and been here to help solve a lot of problems. and instead he took his moral stance and decided, screw what the government tells me, I'm leaving the country. And
yeah,
there's probably a lot of people who took that pretty hard.
But at the same time, what was he doing? He was trying to save and defend his best friend.
Well, he was trying to save what everyone else knew was a war criminal who murdered someone from Wakanda.
That's his best friend. I mean, he's a man out of time.
Nobody knows that.
Yeah,
Nobody knows that the Winter Soldier exists.
No, I know that. But here's my thing, right? Listen. My last point on this, and then I want to move on, is just that who knows what kind of spin the government and the media threw out during the whole Civil War deal or whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of people out there are skeptical of the media. So they
obviously by now they've cleared it up. Otherwise,
think about it. Your average person out there, think about Trump, okay? It doesn't matter what Trump does or doesn't do or whatever. There's still half the damn country that supports Trump no matter what. You know what I'm saying? Like, they still consider him to be like the president right now. You know what I mean? Like, straight up. So like Captain America is like Trump in a way. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter what he does, or you know what I mean? Like, he's still Captain America, and that's it.
Okay.
You know. So, anyways, bottom line, I just want to make this point about that opening scene. I really did feel like John Walker, when he sat there and said, "I feel the weight of the world" or whatever on my shoulders, like I don't know what they expect me to be and everything and whatnot. That was very humanizing.
Right.
That was real.
That's what I was pointing out before, where John Walker has clear motivations to do what he's doing, and he's not trying to be the next Steve Rogers. He's just trying to live up to the idea
Yes, but
that America set out.
But Curtis, did you not notice, at least to some extent in that initial scene, that he does come off like he has humility in him, like he has
throughout the entire episode.
Yeah,
like, completely. I get that. I also got the sense that despite his humility, he is not a guy who is going to like bend the rules to get to an end that he might think is just, which is something that Captain America would have done in the end. I don't see John Walker doing that. I don't see him taking his orders from on high to follow through on his morals, something like that.
That's one of his faults as a character in the comics, is that he follows orders to the T. It doesn't matter what he's told to do, he does it.
Okay. So that's kind of accurate. That's fine.
Yeah. So anyways, moving on. So, okay. So from there, from the high school scene, from the whole, that whole shebang, we see basically, oh, hold on. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Now I know where I'm at. Okay. So basically at that point, we end up seeing, Sam and Bucky get together. And of course we're at the bat. We see that Bucky's pissed off at Sam for giving the shield up. Sam sees the poster of Captain America, so does Bucky. Bucky's obviously mad.
Yeah, dude, Bucky's face when he's watching that guy on the news just like sink into like being so pissed off.
He didn't have to do it. He could just feel
on here
and know exactly what's going through his head. And I want to get into this, but later on, where it becomes where it dives into like more of what's going on with that scene. But
look who's here.
GQ.
Hey, GQ.
Hey.
What's up, brother?
What's up, JQ?
I hope you're doing right. I hope you're doing all right, man. I heard you're doing some WandaVision reviews or like some WandaVision previews or something like that. I wish I would have known about it. I would have caught that, man. I would have loved to have heard what you had to say and everything.
Definitely.
But anyways, bottom line, thanks for popping in, GQ. So basically, so Bucky and Sam get together. Bucky's obviously not very happy with Sam. I can't blame him. At that point, Sam, obviously, his main concern is the Flag Smashers. And Bucky decides that he's going to help Sam. He says, "You need me." They get together. He jumps on the plane somehow, like it's allowed and everything. Even though Sam works for the Air Force and Bucky's just like some dude, a civilian now, he just somehow gets on the plane and goes with them, which is great, like whatever. It's the MCU, so everything works out like that. But bottom line, we finally get the scene from the trailer, the plan scene.
Yes.
Yeah.
of course, I mean, it wasn't as dramatic as it was in the trailer because I've seen it so many times. But what I thought was awesome about that whole thing was that when Sam drops out of there, Bucky's like, so where's my chute or whatever? Where's the chute? And Torres says, oh, well, we're 250 feet. We're too low for a chute. So Bucky just rips his freaking sleeve off, reveals his freaking Wakanda vibranium arm, and just says, okay, well, whatever. I'm just going to jump down there, and just jumps down freaking like with no parachute.
That scene was so awesome.
I thought that was insane. Go ahead, Cyber. I thought that was insane.
That scene was awesome. I mean, yes, definitely it can be construed as insane, but at the same time, though, the scene was just like pure Bucky to me.
So,
and it's just like so hilarious, like the scene because like he's like as they're on the plane and Sam's not really saying anything to him, and Bucky's just kind of like, well, okay, Steve would have a plan and blah 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 and like that, and just that banter between them, especially that scene when they're about to get on the plane and he says it'll be either one of the three big things, so androids, aliens, or
the big three, aliens, androids, or wizards.
Yeah, wizards, and he's like a wizard. And
I just want to say,
banter was so sticking hilarious.
The button on that scene where he jumps out of the plane and he's like, I recorded all that, right?
Yeah. So
yeah, that was tight.
Yeah, that was
awesome. For me, and I think this is what the show is trying to show overall. Is that scene directly is an homage to the opening scene of The Winter Soldier, where Bucky jumps out and says, "I don't."
Was
need
he
one.
wearing a parachute?
He doesn't need one. What the scene actively is doing, one, it's showing the conflicts between the two characters, but it's also showing a connection between their morals and Steve Rogers' morals, that they are a better fit for the Shield than John Walker is. And I think that's a theme that's going to be constantly hit throughout the entirety of the show.
Most definitely, I agree. And I think that, I mean, honestly, going back to him jumping out of the plane, I mean, honestly, like I was not expecting that. That was a big surprise for me. Like I didn't expect him to just do that. It makes sense. I wasn't sure what he was going to do when he jumped out of the plane. I was like, okay, like, is he going to use his arm to like somehow, like, I don't know, beat the tree limbs out of his way or something like that? But no, he just fell straight to the ground. And that just shows you how strong he is. Like that just shows you how strong he is with the super soldier serum. That he could drop 250 feet straight down like a rock and land on his back.
Stroke his fall
and be fine. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, that was crazy. I mean, I've seen Steve Rogers, like in Captain America, the Winter Soldier, he jumped out of that freaking elevator, like that was intense. I mean, but he had his shield,
also,
no, go ahead.
No, like that's like, there's the thing that I think there's a point there where Bucky idolizes his friend to a point where he claims Steve Rogers always had a plan. He didn't. Steve Rogers did a lot of things did a lot of things on gut reaction. So the elevator scene in The Winter Soldier was a completely not planned incident for Steve Rogers. Everything he did there was on the fly.
Like they go in, they find out about Arnim Zola still being alive. Here comes the bomb. Boom.
Yes. So everything is leaning towards more the Falcon being the one that takes up the mantle of Captain America by the end, because he's showing a lot of the same instinctual choices that Steve Rogers would have made.
I don't know. I think the thing that they keep bringing up is it's this question, which is, does Falcon just want to become Cap and then fly or fail at living up to that? Or does he want Falcon to become its own legacy?
I think it's a mix of both, to be honest.
I mean, I don't know if in the end the goal is going to be to get that shield back on the mantle where it will live in Steve Rogers' memory, or if the goal is for someone else to pick up the shield and go on. Because, I mean, like, we're not going to get Iron Man again, right? We're going to get Iron Heart now.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a similar thing. Like, do we let that legacy live with the person who was behind it, or do we try and replace it?
I think that Sam doesn't see himself as worthy to hold the shield, which is why he keeps going back to the it feels like it belongs to someone else. It's him saying I'm not ready for this yet, or I don't think I'm able to carry this weight. So he gives it back. He does what he thinks is right. He bluntly says that in the episode. I think his overall arc, either through this series or through the through the extended show, says he's going to eventually reach the point where he's ready for that mantle and takes up Captain America.
Yeah, that's the crux of the series. Obviously, that's not the main point. That's not the main plot point. There's multiple plot points that they're eventually going to delve into throughout the show, the series.
Well, it's only 6 episodes.
Yes,
we've already seen a full third of it.
No, I know, but there's a lot's going to happen between now and like the end. I'm telling you right now. And honestly, things are going to become more messy. Like there's going to be more characters, more enemies. I mean, we haven't even gotten Zemo involved yet. Where's Sharon Carter? Just like it says in the bottom of the screen. We haven't even seen Agent 13 yet. I'm waiting to see her. She's my freaking dark horse character for the series. I think she's going to shine.
And we know Thunderbolt's supposed to show up.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
no, we don't know that. No, we don't know that.
It's confirmed.
All we know is that we might see Red Hulk maybe at the end of the show, the end of the series, or they might. No, they might form the Thunderbolts like at the end, like in a post-credit scene or something like that.
No, but
hang on just a second.
Go ahead. Never mind. I'll hold this thought until we get confirmation.
No, go ahead, Curtis.
Yeah, the credits include William Hurt as Thunderbolt Ross. That's been confirmed.
Yeah, he's in the show because of the super soldier serum.
No, I mean like the actor is credited as acting in an episode.
Yeah, he's on the show as a because of the super.
That's what I'm saying. They haven't introduced even him on top of the other characters that haven't started.
He's the one who's running John Walker. He's the one giving the orders. Right. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he has the influence. He's the Secretary of State. He
wasn't in the show a second ago. So I'm just saying he's in there also. And like, so to speak to what you were saying about
he's in there to be the same character as he always has been before with the super soldier serum, with the program. He's got the Weapon X program going. He runs the super soldier program. Well, so guess what? You saw what happened. What happened to John Walker when he fought the super soldier people, the Flag Smashers? He got his ass kicked, right? So what do you think is going to happen now? What's he going to do to try to level up?
What is the confusion here?
Cyber, you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. What am I missing? Cyber should be
Thunderbolt Ross has been running the super soldier program, the Weapon X program for years and years.
So why did you say he wasn't in the show a few minutes ago?
I didn't think he wasn't on the show. He is in the show.
I thought you said that, which is where my
he's the one running John Walker. He's the one giving the orders.
Events. You said Zemo, Agent 13, and then I said and Thunderbolt Ross, and you said no.
I thought you said the Thunderbolts were going to come together.
No, that's the mix-up then.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this whole time you've been explaining his role, and I'm I know that. That's my point.
I thought you were going to say that we were going to see the Thunderbolts,
no, I didn't say that.
Well, I mean, to the extent that Zemo and Ross are Thunderbolts, but nothing more than that.
Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe there's like an end credit scene or something like on the finale where we see like Zemo and like.
All I was saying is it's just they have so much to deliver in 4 more episodes.
They do. That's a good point. That's a good point. Cyber, you want to get in on that?
I mean, I honestly think that in the next 4 episodes, and I believe that they will probably be between 54 and 55 minutes long. I mean, the fact that, there's so much to go over, and we just got the introduction to Zemo at the end of this episode. I feel we're going to be seeing a lot of Zemo, and then all of a sudden we'll see Sharon Carter and we'll see Thunderbolt. Each of them will all get introduced at their extended point. But really, if you think about it, the whole series is called The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's about Bucky and Sam. Yeah. So, I mean, even if they do, they have a substantial part. Yes, most definitely any of these characters. But at the same time, though, we know Marvel and Disney, how they do things, just like what they did with WandaVision. They wait until the last minute to give you everything you're looking for. And so that's what I see going on with this series too, is that the first 3 episodes, the first half basically, will be how it is, and then the last 3 will be the epic ending, just like they always do with films.
That was the thing. WandaVision is getting a lot of criticism because when it got to the big ending, it wrapped up Wanda's story and didn't necessarily pay off like the cameos and the stuff that these other people cared about or whatever. So I agree with you. I think the thing is they have all these things to build up, but in the end it's going to be Falcon and Winter Soldier's story. I don't think, unless they really dig into Zemo and all that, I don't think we're going to get a lot of payoffs for most things other than Falcon and his family and Winter Soldier and his peace of mind.
Yeah.
I don't want to get deep into it, but get a little bit more detailed on that WandaVision where people felt like some of the cameo actors or roles were not, like their stories weren't wrapped up. Like who are people talking about?
So people thought that Monica Rambeau was going to have a bigger part in the finale.
Oh, come on. Monica Rambeau was a freaking superstar in that series. You kidding me? She came out.
She did. She had her moment to shine.
Yeah, no, but also she was completely locked out of episode 8.
The last episode. That's the thing.
That's okay. That's okay. They have big plans for her.
So, and then you have the person that was an astrophysicist that they teased that turned out not to be that. You had the tease of what character was pretending to be Quicksilver, who turned out to just be a guy named Boner.
The astrophysicist thing was literally just them messing with us.
I know, and that's fine. We don't have a problem with
the writers knew that we automatically think that meant Reed Richards. You know what I'm saying?
The point is, they're promising something with Zemo. They're promising something with Ross. They're promising something with Agent Carter. None of it is going to be as substantial as anyone thinks.
What do you mean they're promising something with Sharon Carter? What are they promising?
Like what you said. You said she was going to have a substantial role.
I think she's going to break out in the series. I do.
How?
Just because I honestly think they're going to use her, just like Monica Rambeau, in very specific situations in these next couple episodes where she's going to shine. You know what I mean? And at that point, it's going to elevate her character to where I wouldn't be surprised if they keep her in the MCU.
Okay.
She's a quasi Black Widow type character in the comic books. She can fight. She's got serious hand-to-hand skills. You know what I mean? She can fight.
But that's the thing with Monica Rambeau is she had a moment to shine, but it was really more of a promise for the future. Nothing concluded for her.
Yeah.
So Sharon Carter might have a moment to shine.
Hold on. We got
GQ
here. GQ, what's up, bro?
What's up, GQ? Hey, hey.
What's going on? What's going on? How are you?
Oh, we're live. We can come in.
This is great. Here we go.
Long time no see, brother. How you doing, man?
I cannot complain. I was watching the UFC match. It finished. I'm still awake. I went on Instagram. I saw your post about the 12 a.m. Live that you were doing. So I figured let me just pop in, show support. And I love Marvel stuff too. So I figure, hey, why not?
Well, look, late happy birthday. I'm sorry I didn't get it to you.
Thank you.
I hope you had a good birthday.
It's his birthday coming up too, so we got birthday.
Oh, that's great, Curtis.
Well, happy future birthday, sir.
Happy late birthday.
It was Frankie's birthday today too, man. Jesus, a lot of birthdays going on. But yeah, you know what? Honestly, GQ, I'm glad you're on because when I'm trying to think who told me. I can't remember who it was, but somebody mentioned to me the other day, Eric mentioned to me that he did some MCU content with you with WandaVision and whatnot and everything. And I really really wanted to hear your thoughts, your perspective on just the MCU in general, whatever topic was at hand with the MCU, just because you bring a really good perspective, a fresh perspective on any topic, basically. And, it's always good to have, new guests and people, new people to the program. At that point, please feel free to join in and, talk right over me if you need to, because I'm a long-winded, son of a bitch. So if you got to just, push me out of the way or whatever, just go ahead. But, no, just to get things back on track, right? Okay, so bottom line, we end up getting into essentially after Bucky chews out Sam about the whole giving up the shield deal, which I do think is kind of a big deal, but we'll get into that later. At that point, we end up, they find the Flag Smashers. They realize that they're super strong, and they end up taking off. Bucky takes off at marathon speed for that truck. They think they have a hostage. Of course, the hostage turns out to be
the leader.
the Morgenthau chick, Carly Morgenthau, who is the leader of the Flag Smashers.
Which is actually kind of interesting because that whole group, the Flag Smashers, is based off of one guy, the Flag Smasher.
The Flag Smasher.
And it's the male version of her name.
Yep, they gender bended it.
Ooh.
Yep,
Yeah. Did not know that.
Did not know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, they gender bended the character. They do it all the time in the MCU.
So if they're going to kill anyone, it's not going to be her. That's what we know.
They do.
Well, I don't know about that, but they did gender bend the character. But it's okay. I like it. I like her as an actor. She seems pretty good, like pretty talented. You know, she's got an interesting face, like a very distinct look to her.
Also, is it called gender bend when you like turn it into multiple man and make some of the gender woman? Like,
I don't know about that, but it is gender. They do call it gender bending when you take a role like that and you flip it and make it male to female or female to male or whatever. You know, and they've done that. They've done that a lot. They're doing it.
Yeah, I know. It's just funny that it's like a group. You take the idea of a character and you make it more than one person.
They're doing that with the Eternals. They turn the sprite in the Eternals is a male character, and they're making that character female in the Eternals. You know, so they do that. But basically, so at that point, we end up with. I wanted to actually mention the Flag Smashers, of course. But I wanted to actually mention the name of the actress that plays that Carly Morgenthau character. She is let's see, where's she at? Oh, okay, here she is. She is Erin Kellyman. That is who she is. And so basically we get the big fight scene. All right, we get, Bucky jumps into the truck. She kicks him, I'm assuming, and he goes like, 20, 30 feet in the air and lands on a car or whatever. And from there, Sam jumps in, and they basically start getting their ass kicked. So, I mean, taking it from there, letting you start off, GQ, what were your thoughts kind of like at that point with that battle scene? This now, don't even get into like U.S. Agent yet.
Honestly, man, I think because it's so early in the series, I feel like that group is not who we think they are. I think they're designing it in such a way to make us believe that they're the big bad guys. I think there's more to it behind the scenes. I think there's going to come a point where they're going to come to an understanding of why they're doing what they're doing, and then they're going to go after the person who's really behind the dirt. I think Power Broker has something to do with it.
Good point. I didn't mention Power Broker yet, and I should have mentioned Power Broker.
And I think Power Broker is the guy that is distributing the powers.
In Jessica Jones season 2, he gave Jessica Jones and her mom their powers.
Open question, but GQ first.
I haven't seen season 2 yet.
Who do you think the Power Broker is, GQ? And then we'll go around the table. Who do you think the Power Broker is?
Honestly, for me, it's too early to say. I don't know if the identity of the Power Broker is as important yet, but I could be wrong. I definitely could be wrong.
Okay, Cyber, what do you think?
Honestly, I have no idea either. It's just like JQ was saying, it's so early in the series. We have no idea. But who knows? We could have already been introduced to him or her, and then later down in the series, all of a sudden we'll find out who they are.
It could be Ross. Who knows?
Yeah, it could be Ross. Eric, Curtis. I know you guys want to opine.
What are your thoughts?
I don't have enough information to go on.
I am going to take a swing for the fences and say it's going to be the same actor who played him in Jessica Jones, just because we basically have that confirmation that Charlie Cox is still Daredevil.
Okay.
He might not be the same style. It might not be the same canon. But if that actor's still available, why not?
Well, you know what? You got me on that one because I still haven't finished Daredevil. I didn't know that they actually revealed Power Broker during Daredevil.
Jessica Jones season 2.
Oh, Jessica Jones season 2. Okay, yeah, all right. You know what? That's great. I mean, honestly, in the comic books, the Power Broker is a corporation. That's what it is. It's not like a person. It's a corporation. And essentially, then what they do is, like, they take for profit. They take payments to enhance people, to give people augmented strength, and essentially, I'm getting too far ahead.
But then you're in their pockets, though. They give you the powers, but that means you got to do them a favor.
I don't know. It's very interesting. It could be Thunderbolt Ross. He could be the power broker. But at the same time, I'm honestly thinking that this is just my thoughts. That I think there's probably multiple people creating super soldier serum on this show. Like it's not just going to be one person or one group. There's going to be multiple like groups or people that are doing super soldier experiments.
Now I do have an alternative though. Because the super soldier serum, yes, it's a very likely explanation. I think my left field guess is the possibility of finally the appearance of mutants.
You really think so?
Possibly. If they don't show up here, definitely in Shang-Chi.
Well, you know what? This is one thing I know for a fact, and I know this is a leak and a rumor that's already been basically, it's from Murphy's multiverse, and I trust Charles Murphy. At that point, they've already said that Omega Red is going to be in the show. He's probably going to hearing that. Yeah, he's probably going to be in the next episode.
They've already hinted at mutants with Scarlet Witch. They've already hinted
in
WandaVision that Scarlet Witch has always had those powers. The Mind Stone just awakened them.
Unless you know
Scarlet Witch, she is a mutant.
Unless you're a comic book fan, you don't know that Wanda is a mutant. You don't know that. They didn't show that in the series.
Well, here's the thing about that though. In the MCU, specifically, even though they may have not alluded to mutants being the reason, they definitely may have alluded to the fact that she was a witch and whatever happened with the Mind Stone just enhanced her witch abilities. But then later on, it could be revealed, maybe not yet, but it could be revealed down the line that was a result of a mutation. The only reason why I don't know if it's really a mutation yet is because we don't know if Pietro had powers as well, being that he's the twin. He should have had some powers as well. If he didn't, then it's pointing to the fact that it's more so of the witch reason than the mutation reason.
And then there's a second thing, which is that a construct from Wanda, whose powers come from the Mind Stone, twisted the cell structure of Monica Rambeau when she went through and woke up what was in her.
Yeah.
So, and also the powers that woke up in Captain Marvel come from an Infinity Stone.
Yep.
So there are all these points hinting to you snap everyone away with Infinity Stones, you snap them back with Infinity Stones. Maybe some of the population, you wake up something in their cell structure, you have mutants.
So
based on the cosmic radiation from the.
That's my premise too.
Yeah. It hints at the creation of the mutant gene, which is explored all throughout the X-Men movies.
I could be wrong. I mean, you know what? You never know. You never know with Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios. They always surprise us. But I feel like that's the most clear, logical way that they can go about doing it. Is just saying, you know what? Because of the blip, because of Hulk's snap, because of Thanos' snap, because of Tony's snap. At that point, that activated the X gene, like, you know what I'm saying, with people, and that's where mutants came from. But as far as like Falcon and the Winter Soldier goes, Omega Red is going to be a villain in the show. He's a mutant from the comic books, and he's not going to be a mutant on the show. They're not going to make him canon. Like, he's not going to be a mutant. He's just going to be a super soldier, hybrid, kind of like, that was experimented by the Soviet Union, that lives in Madripoor, which I believe they're going to be going to Madripoor in the next episode.
I was wrong about something. The actor that I'm thinking of played the octopus, Carl Malice, in Jessica Jones. So, never mind.
Go ahead, GQ.
So now if they're going to introduce Omega Red, that raises another question, because Omega Red had adamantium. Are they going to be introducing adamantium anytime?
Well, no. He doesn't. He has
or is it organic steel?
Kybranium or something like that is called. It's not the same thing as adamantanium. It's like the Soviet Union version. Carbamantanium is what it's called. His tentacles you're talking about? Yeah, I mean, I don't know, GQ. I'll tell you right now, I've been looking forward to this for a long time. I cannot wait to see how they make Omega Red look on screen. Like, in the comics, he's dope. He looks freaking awesome. He's huge. mean,
I'm on the X-Men wiki, and the Soviet government implanted one retractable carbonadium tentacle in each of his arms. It was their attempt to recreate adamantium.
Yeah.
Carbonadium
Malleable.
Isn't carbonadium the substance that can cut through adamantium? If I'm
No,
remembering?
it's just typical Soviet Union like copy bullshit. Like they can never do anything like we do shit.
Think of it as you know how Tony Stark has his technology in his suits.
Yeah.
Think of
Justin Hammer.
Carbonadium to adamantium. What Justin Hammer is to Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I know there's a metal out there that can cut adamantium because Deadpool's katanas are made out of that metal. I just can't remember what it's called.
I've never heard of any metal in the 616 MCU in the 616 Marvel universe that's stronger than adamantium. I've never heard of anything.
Yeah.
I never have. I've never heard of anything that was stronger that could cut it or do anything. But bottom line, let's move on.
Adamantine is the metal of the gods. It's stronger and sharper.
Okay.
The only metal, from my knowledge, that can cut through actual adamantium is actually Antarctic vibranium. But that's so deep into the storylines that has to be like you have to be like a deep comic book nerd to know that ability.
I've heard of it.
Apparently, in the Marvel Ultimate Alliance game, so take the canon with a grain of salt. Vibranium steel alloy that Captain America's shield is made of is stronger.
Well, anyways, bottom line, rest of the fight scene. Okay, so Falcon and Bucky basically cannot like handle their business with like what were they 8 like super soldier serum flag smashers. They obviously were very strong. Like I mean, they could throw down. You saw that Morgenthau woman grab Red Wing and break it over her knee and everything. She jumped like 12 feet in the air. It was interesting. It was really interesting seeing a woman with the super soldier serum for the first time and like how that worked out. Like she's very strong. And you know what it made me think of? A lot of people believe that Black Widow was potentially had the super soldier serum, and that's how she was able to fight hand to hand so well with men and stuff like that and whatnot. But if you look at it with Carly Morgenthau, she has a super soldier serum, and she's kicking Bucky 30 feet in the air.
Or at least some version of the super soldier serum.
Yes. And we do know that potentially the link supposedly when Black Widow was supposed to come out before Falcon and the Winter Soldier, when Falcon and the Winter Soldier was supposed to be the first series coming out, there was supposed to be a connection between the two properties, and I think it was a super soldier serum. But okay, so back to the fight. All right, so obviously, John Walker, U.S. agent, Captain America. I hate calling him Captain America. He came in with Battlestar. That was pretty cool. I loved it. I thought it was really cool. I did. I love the team up. I mean, even though I love that
Battlestar was Bucky's "I'm done with this" moment.
Yeah. No, I mean, you know what? It was a really cool scene. It was actually kind of cool to see them team up for a minute, even though Bucky seemed like irritable and irritated to even be near John Walker and everything and whatnot. Like at the same time,
when he caught that shield and threw it away. Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you guys tell me. John Walker's got some serious game with that shield, man. Like he can throw that shield.
Yeah. Which, again, the other thing is he took a punch to the chest and fell into a car without dying from a super soldier serum.
Yeah.
I'm a little suspicious that he's got something in him.
Nah, that's just MCU. That's just MCU. Like, he doesn't have anything. He's not enhanced yet.
We don't know that, though.
When he throws the shield, it looks exactly like when Captain America does it.
Does he seem like the kind of guy who would lie? When he said right in the beginning of the episode, I don't have superpowers.
Yes, but I'll say this. When they make a point of writing that a character can't act, like when they made a point of saying, that's why you failed drama school. When you try and someone tries to tell you to your face, trust me, I'm not lying. What's the first thing you're going to assume?
At the same time, you saw the same fight scene I did. Did he look like he was actually like 50-50 with those flag smashers? He didn't.
He stood there longer than Bucky stood there, and Bucky has the super soldier serum.
Here's the thing. Here's the situation though. Let's say hypothetically he has powers and doesn't know it yet. There could be a possibility that the reason why he wasn't effective against the people he was fighting was due to the fact that his body is not acclimated to whatever he has in him yet. Because if you really think about it, look at the huge difference between when Captain America was fighting people in the first Captain America movie and then fast forward to Winter Soldier. When Captain America kicked somebody in the first one, it was just a regular kick. Opening scene Winter Soldier, he's kicking people and they're going through walls.
Yeah.
So I think there's an acclimation period to, if he does have something in him, he has to get acclimated to it before it becomes effective.
And I will say this. He could be also telling the truth that there's nothing in him, because if whoever is working with him tells him this is not super soldier serum,
he'll believe it.
He'll believe it. And he'll follow orders. Like we said, he'll follow.
He's obedient, whereas whoever else they could have given the mantle to wouldn't be.
Cyber, you tell me. I really feel like the plot is basically unfolding where he's going to get the super soldier serum because he's got to try to fight. He's got to take on these flag smashers, you know, and Thunderbolt Ross is running the super soldier program. It seems like a perfect connection to me.
I mean, and basically, if you think about it, I mean, anything could really happen.
Yeah.
You could go either way. Now, maybe John Walker already has the super soldier serum, like they're saying, in him, but he doesn't know it because the person that's pulling the strings behind it told him, you know, just like what he was saying, that, you know, maybe he gave him something and he thinks it's something else.
Okay.
Or one of those 4 times he took a grenade, he took some shrapnel, they gave him a shot, boom.
Yeah.
Because I also think that if the government is in full control of whoever they chose to be Captain America, maybe they gave him something that would make sure that he would be obedient to whatever orders he's given.
And I don't know. Yeah. Oh, that could be a thing. And then I don't know how much I like the idea of him taking the serum because he's not strong enough, because it doesn't seem like he's the kind of person who would do that.
Right.
It would put like an unnecessary link between him and Tim Roth's Abomination.
Mm.
And an interesting thing that they could do with that is they could make him a shadow of that character, but going in a different route. But it seems like an unnecessary risk to go that way, in my opinion.
But getting back to what you were saying, Jeff, is that it possibly by the end of the series, maybe all of a sudden it's like, oh, we're going to give him the super soldier serum. I mean, that it could be possibly, and you know, even though he already has it, they all of a sudden say, oh, we're going to give it to him so that he can battle these flag smashers properly. You know, I mean, it could happen. There's always possibilities because that's how Marvel works. Marvel's always throwing us out surprises, so anything can be possible.
And you know what? I'd like to add to what you were to piggyback off of what you were saying, Cybernetic Shark. MCU, they'll draw inspiration from the comics, but in the spirit of keeping things exciting, they're not going to do it exactly the way the comic had it. Because if that was the case, Captain America would have died in Civil War by assassination.
Yes.
They went a different direction because they knew that the people that read the comics and are faithful to the comics, they knew that Crossbones took them out. And they didn't go that route this time. Iron Man dies at the end of Endgame. So it was a completely different direction. So, yeah, it's safe to say that they draw inspiration, but they won't do exactly what people are expecting them to do in the spirit of keeping storylines interesting.
Well, not only that, GQ, but I think you would agree that the comic books are a different medium than film. And at that point, just to make the whole thing translate, you have to basically make changes. You have to change the stories a little bit and whatnot. It's the only way to make it work.
For sure.
Well, yeah, but you also don't want to make it predictable, which is why you want to draw influence and inspiration and not do a direct copy, which is why you have shows like WandaVision, which is clearly inspired by House of M, but is also not House of M.
No, it was like a mashup of House of M and what was that storyline where Vision had a family?
West Coast
Family of Androids.
I can't remember.
It was like a mashup of that too. Was it
West Coast Avengers or is it not?
It was. It may have. No, I think it was when Wanda and Vision had their own comic book.
Oh.
Well, yeah, one did that one, but then there was also a comic where Vision had a family of androids, and their dog's name was Sparky.
Okay.
Well, bottom line, I don't want to delve too much into WandaVision because if we get started on that topic, I'll end up talking about it for an hour because I've still got thoughts on it. But okay, so all right, we get to the fight. We all know what happened with the fight. I mean, once John Walker and Battlestar came in, things leveled up a little bit. I mean, like the fight was a little more level. I really loved seeing Bucky's arm when he was hanging from that truck. Did you guys see that that paint, that that color on his arm, that like yellow paint or whatever? It looked awesome.
Yeah, that's the arm from Wakanda.
Yeah, no, I mean it looked awesome. It looked boss. I can't wait to see what that arm can do. Like they haven't shown us anything yet. I mean,
I feel like if it is the same arm from Wakanda, I feel like if it could do other things, I think we would have seen it in like Infinity War.
Come on, it was Shuri that made that arm. Come on, that thing does other stuff.
Right, so why wouldn't he use any of that stuff in Endgame or Infinity War?
Because it's not suspenseful enough yet. They want to get farther into the show before they show us the toy.
In Infinity War, it wasn't suspenseful enough?
No, look, come on. In Infinity War and Endgame, all they had Bucky do was shoot a gun in a standing position. That's all. That's what
I'm saying. It would have been a good time to use that arm for whatever it's worth.
I mean, he was basically useless as a character at that point. Like, he didn't even use them. He's like, dude, Bucky is like one of the most. Bucky is
weird. Sammy and Curtis were pointing out that Sam and Bucky were not really using guns and weaponry all that much. Like, once Red Wing was gone, Falcon's arsenal was gone.
Yeah, that's true. You know what? Good point. Sam usually has those M16s with him. You know what I mean? Like, he usually brings those out. I'm surprised he didn't have those.
Yeah. And so I don't know if it's because they're not with the government. So basically whatever they do, they don't have, like, they're going to go to jail if they kill someone.
No, I think they did it just for the plot, just to make things more fluid. I think if they would have gave them the guns, it would have maybe overdone it a little bit. They want to, I think they want to show us how he fights hand to hand because we've never seen Sam fight hand to hand.
Yeah, but like, say you're Bucky and you want to go in to fight some super soldiers. Are you like, but wait a minute, there might be an audience out there. I should keep my guns at home.
Well, no, here's the thing. I think I don't know if it was an artistic choice. I do have to add the first scene of Captain America Civil War was our first glimpse of Sam doing hand-to-hand combat. He did a complete wheel kick. He did he was showing how badass he was.
He can throw down.
That wasn't that it alluded to what he was able to do, but they kind of just left it at that. Here in the beginning of the first episode, they showed a little bit more, and I think as the series continues, they're going to give you more and more and more.
Yeah, I think you really caught my point there with that. They really are just trying to demonstrate. They really want to flush out this dynamic between Sam and Bucky, and what way to make it more human than to have them be fighting hand to hand, not with guns. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes, and I think another thing that they're doing very brilliantly to humanize both of these characters is when it comes to Bucky, they're exploring the mental health aspect of dealing with trauma.
Yeah.
And then of course it's blatantly obvious. I don't know if anybody has noticed, but I'm sure you guys do. With Sam, they are exploring racial relations like crazy.
Well, let me just point out, all right. I'm glad you mentioned that, GQ, and this is what I want to say. All right. So I am going to put it out there that I do know that the showrunner for the series has been out there in the media talking about Black Lives Matter and like social justice and everything and connecting that to the show and like really talking about race, talking it up like hardcore. I don't like that very much, but like honestly, I got to tell you the truth. Cyber knows. Cyber and I have had this conversation privately. I typically don't like it when racism is exploited in film or like in TV or whatever, just to do it. You know what I mean? But I honestly feel like in this series, they've done a good job of doing it in the right way.
I was going to say they're doing it very tastefully.
Yes, it's not overdone. It's not ridiculous. It's not like, woke. It's like they're just throwing it in there kind of subtly. And at the end of the day, I knew race was going to be a big construct with this series because it's well known that Kevin Feige wants to take the MCU in a direction where there's more diversity. They want to touch more on social issues and stuff like that. But I must say that I honestly think that, and I'm not just trying to be, an MCU fan here, and like approving everything and liking everything. I really think they've handled the whole race issue the right way, where they pointed it out. They've made it clear that that's an issue. It's a part of the show, but they're not overdoing it. They're not overselling it. It doesn't look bad. It's not stupid. And you know what? At the end of the day, think about it. The people who decided that Sam couldn't be Captain America are 70 and 80-year-old white men. You know what I'm saying? So, to think at that point that the fact that he's black has nothing to do with the fact that he's not Captain America, that they didn't go right to him when he brought the shield in, and say, you know what? Hey, you got the shield.
Yeah, if you really paid attention to that first episode when he was giving the shield up, that lieutenant went up to him and said, "You're doing the right thing." And then you see Rhodey give him kind of a side-eye look like, did he really just say that? You know what I mean? Yeah. And then, of course, what better way to dive right into the racial relations than to show that Isaiah Bradley, because that was an unexpected surprise, because a lot of people don't realize Isaiah Bradley was the test subject for the super soldier serum just to make sure it was safe to give to Steve Rogers.
The Black Captain America. Yep, he was. He
was erased from history because all of the attention was focused on Steve.
Yep, and he got thrown in prison, just like you said in the episode, for 30 years or whatever. And they experimented on multiple African Americans in the military after World War II, after Steve. And Elijah, he was the one that survived, basically.
Yeah, and it was very reminiscent of the Tuskegee experiments.
Yes, it was. It was basically the same thing. But no, honestly, I think they've handled it the right way. And at the same time, there's a positive vibe in this series with the fact that Bucky's white, Sam's black, you know what I mean? And honestly, I think that even though maybe they're kind of like enemies right now, by the end of the show, the end of the series, I feel like they're going to maybe they're not going to really like each other that much, but they're going to trust each other and respect each other more, and
I think they're going to love each other.
I think
they have a love-hate relationship.
Cyber, you want to jump in?
I'm going to agree with you on this one.
Anytime that you give
Cyber,
them,
go ahead and jump in, man.
About
the whole racial aspect of the series. And
I mean, I honestly, I can see why they brought it in. And I think that it's interesting that they decided to really bring it and focus in on this series. I definitely, get that in the second episode when, Sam goes with his sister to try to save their business down in Louisiana. I totally get that plays completely into that part about racism there, because that's just, unfortunately, that's how the South is.
I live there.
I thought that was really smart way that they really brought that together in that scene, giving you kind of a reality of how it is down the South and what they have to deal with. And I just really appreciated that because I thought that they did a really great, tasteful job with that.
Well said.
So I think the best way that they've handled this so far out of all the scenes that they've had, I thought was Bucky and the child, who was like, "Hey, you're Black Falcon."
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought, because here's the thing, Marvel has been about social issues since the comics started.
Yeah.
At least since the X-Men have started. So it's always going to be in the bones of the stories that they choose to tell.
Yeah.
As long as the creators care about these characters and stories first, that stuff is going to naturally unfold. And as long as they're, more, I think I was talking about this earlier with someone, as long as you keep it in the realm of a safe place to explore these issues as escapism, then you can talk about whatever you want. You're still in this story that people can be along for the ride for.
Yep. Yep.
And I'm gonna take this back to the therapy session between Bucky and Sam.
You give them one person they don't like in the room, and they're best friends.
So
Curtis, I'm glad that you brought that up because I'm glad that you're pushing the plot for the episode forward. That's good.
This scene gets to the core of what the show is about, and it's established in episode 1 that Sam is someone that Bucky is already close to. He's one of the few people that's in
his phone.
And at the end of that session, Sam basically says, "When we're done with this mission, I'm done with you." And Bucky agrees to it painfully.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell that he left that knowing he did something wrong. I don't know. Like, I want to know how he plans to fix this, because he obviously wants to fix this, and he was put in a situation where he couldn't express exactly what he wanted to say. To put it in their words, "Thank you, you made it awkward."
Well, let me make a small point. For Bucky, honestly, Steve is gone. So, like, at that point, Sam is all that's left of Steve. You know what I mean? Like, Sam is all that's left of, like, I mean, for him, I mean, he's a man out of time. He has no friends, no family. All his family's dead. Sam is the one thing out there, the one person that was best friends with his best friend. And come on, I mean, everybody here on this live stream at some point in their life has had a best friend that had another friend that you were friends with, that kind of had a relationship with or whatever. Like, you were friends with the person too, but you weren't, like, really that tight. You know what I mean? Like, we've all been
mutual friends.
Yeah, we've all had that. We've all lived through that and had that experience. I mean, I have that. I have situations like that in my life right now. You know, I mean, I don't really, you know, it is what it is. But no, I think that really at the end of the day, I think that Bucky is very lost. And, like, I mean, look at his therapy sessions. Like, he's very pensive. He's afraid to even answer questions.
It's not that he's pensive. He's closed himself off. He refuses to talk to anyone.
Yeah, he's afraid he's afraid to even try to be emotional and emotionally connect with anyone. I mean, you know, look at his date that he had. You know, like, he's not even interested in sex. Like, he doesn't even care. Like, he's closed off. He lives in an apartment with no furniture. Sleeps on the floor. You know, like, I mean, honestly,
but I think that a lot of that has to do with, I feel, is the brainwashing. I mean, think about it. I mean, with being brainwashed for so many years, you know, being that super soldier person that he was, unfortunately, that, you know, coming out of that finally and not having that be a part of you anymore is probably another one of the reasons why he's so closed off as well.
What's that quote from Captain America?
I was just going to say, one thing I need to point out is Marvel is really good at taking seemingly unimportant lines from previous films and bringing them full circle. Do you remember the dialogue that Sam and Steve had in the beginning of Winter Soldier? What did Sam say to Steve? "It's your bed, isn't it? It's too soft. You feel like you're gonna sink through. It's like marshmallows. So I sleep on the floor, and I have to get rocks as pillows because that's the only way they can get comfortable."
And so Bucky is
sleeping on the floor because he can't sleep in a bed. Because if you really think about it, they only show that one room. We don't know what else is in his living situation. But if he does have a bed, he doesn't use it because of that line reminiscent to everybody else that has gone through war. They can't sleep on a soft bed.
And there's that military connection between Sam and Bucky too. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
They're both military. So like, at that point, there's a lot of reasons for Bucky to actually like Sam.
I think Bucky does like Sam. I think they're just at loggerheads about it at this point.
I think he begrudgingly likes him.
Yeah.
He wants to hate him, but he's like, gosh, this guy's such a nice guy.
I think he jumped on that plane and went on that mission for Sam, to protect Sam.
Yeah, I think Bucky likes Sam. I think Sam's like, okay, you like me? Well, you have to be on board with my stuff. You have to, you like me, but you don't like my tech. But here, look, my tech just saved your life. Like,
I think Sam is lost too, because you have to take into consideration Captain America was his idol. He looked up to Steve Rogers. Like, you know, he was a secondary character in the MCU up until this point. And Captain America was the main guy. With Captain America, Steve Rogers there, Falcon could kind of blend into the shadows and kind of just do, you know, and be that secondary person or whatever. He didn't have to have all the you know, the light shining on him. He didn't have to have the spotlight on him. Well, I think that right now, I mean, he was best friends with Captain America. They were on the run for 2 years, living in hotels with Black Widow and shit. So, like, I mean, you know, they are good friends. They were good friends. They were like family almost, like blood brothers. And at that point, losing Steve has been a massive loss for him.
And I think essentially that loss is what brings Sam and Bucky closer.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And no, go ahead.
They have a commonality in loss with Captain America, and they're I think the only two people that actually know what actually happened to Captain America, at least among the Avengers, because they're when Steve
they
Rogers,
walk off to the side.
Yeah, when Steve Rogers doesn't come back, and instantly you first off with that scene, Bucky already knows that Steve Rogers is planning something because of the line, "Don't how can I? You're taking all
You're taking all the stupid with you."
Yes, and the very next thing you see is Bucky walking away, looks over, and he sees Steve sitting there. The only two people that walk over are Sam and Bucky, because they're the closest people to Captain at that point. And so there's the commonality with Steve.
And Black Widow was dead. That was the one I was thinking of. But
and so it's that commonality with Steve, and the idea that Steve always had this like innate ability to like this innate excellent judge of character. So you would think that these two people that Steve was close to on a family sense would be able to gel at some point, and because they've never interacted with each other in such a way that they could do that, because in a way Steve was a barrier to that, and now that he's gone, that barrier is gone.
You know what? And just to piggyback off of what you said, those are the two people that Steve trusted the most.
Yes.
And I think with Sam and Bucky realizing that, now they're looking at each other like, okay, even though I kind of don't like you, I have to respect the fact that Steve trusted you. So therefore, if Steve could trust you, then by default, I should be able to trust you.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a very interesting dynamic. It really is. I mean, I'm glad that we're actually exploring it and everything because, you know, honestly, on my own, I hadn't really had much of a, you know, personal thought on the whole situation. But that's the great thing about having these collaborations is that when you have a chance to listen to other people and bring in other perspectives in, it really, like, you know, it's really thought provoking. It really takes you to different places when it comes to covering these episodes and these series. I mean, you know, basically, you know, moving on with the whole show, I really want to, I guess, kind of, we all know what happened with the fight scene. Sam and Bucky ended up, you know, basically being thrown out of the fight. You know, John Walker tried to go solo. I mean, that save that where he threw his shield and saved Battlestar was dope. That was dope. I mean, like, that was Steve Rogers type, like, tossing the shield right there. You know, but either way,
superhuman-like reflexes.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe, yeah. I mean, you know, but bottom line, you know, honestly, when it comes to the whole situation with, you know, them visiting, Elijah, Falcon revealing to Sam, you know, about him. There wasn't that much to the whole scene. It was kind of a small scene. There wasn't a lot that really, you know.
That's the thing we haven't touched on yet, though. Bucky never told Steve about Elijah because I think he knew
Isaiah.
Yeah, because I think he knew what it would do to Steve knowing about Isaiah would do to him.
I mean, that's interesting. You know what?
It's weird because Steve is so protective of Bucky. and now we know there are so many things where Bucky was protective of Steve.
Yeah.
And how does Bucky know? Because he actually fought Isaiah Bradley tooth to nail, like hand to hand and everything and whatnot back in the day when he was Winter Soldier, which is deep. I wish they would have showed that. I was waiting to see it.
We still might get to see it. We don't know yet.
I mean, that would be intense. I don't know about y'all, but I loved it when they revisited the Winter Soldier in episode 1 and showed him in that short action scene. He was like, he's ruthless as that character.
That reminds me.
Great action, terrible hair extensions.
Yes.
I don't know if I am emotionally ready for when Bucky finally tells that guy that he's the one that killed his son. I don't think I'm ready for that.
Yeah.
Cyber, go ahead, man.
I mean, I honestly know, like, just from the brief time he interacted with the gentleman that, he killed his son, unfortunately, just that gets you going a little bit, emotionally wise and mental wise. And you're
exactly, because it's coming.
Yeah. And like when he even goes after he's on the date with the gal, and he sees the old man, and he's about to tell him, and then he's like, never mind,
Yeah, because he sees that shrine that he has of his son. And it's like, damn, like
it's gonna be so epic that I think, Marvel, how they are, it's gonna be like an epic scene eventually when he finally does have to tell him.
Right. And this is also one of the few relationships that
emotional
has
breakdown
made since losing Steve. And revealing that he's the one that killed his son puts that
potentially mess that relationship up. Yeah.
That's the thing. Is he relates so much more to older characters. Steve would too.
But look at Bucky. I mean, his whole past has put him in a situation where he's untouchable emotionally. Like, I mean, who would want anything to do with him? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, look what he's done. I mean, honestly, I don't
think he can accept. I think people would definitely want something to do with him. I just don't think he can accept it.
I agree with you, but I think of two things. When I think of that whole situation, that whole dichotomy with him killing that guy's son, I think of my children in a way. Like, I think of my children and like, what if something like that happened in my life? You know what I mean? Like, what would I do? That's what I think of. And then I think of being Bucky and like, I don't know if I would have the balls to tell somebody the truth about that and tell them that I killed their son. I don't know if I can handle it. I don't know if I can do it. I'm a strong dude, but I don't know if I can do it.
See, this is where I get nervous about the Disney Plus of it all, because this is how I would see that scene going. If I'm Bucky, I walk into that man's house, I place a gun on the table, and I tell him it was me, and I let that man go through the full range of emotions and do whatever he needs to do, whether that means shooting me or not. Disney Plus is never going to be able to go that dark.
That's a Netflix move.
That's a Netflix move. And I just don't think they're ever going to be able. I think he's just going to cry. And we'll probably cry with him. But I don't know that they're going to be able to handle a subject that mature on the platform they're showing it.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that moment. I'm really curious to see how they handle that moment.
Well, let's hope. Like Cyber and I have had talked about in some private conversations recently, that that Marvel Studios is going to actually have some type of wing of the MCU, like with Disney, where
starting with Moon Knight,
where they're going to have where they'll put their rated R content, like the Punisher when he comes back, because he's going to come back. Right now,
it's John Barenthal.
Disney Plus.
Yeah,
I think they're putting that on Hulu. All of their super mature stuff they're putting on Hulu.
I'm telling you right now, John Bernthal is going to come back. He's gonna be the Punisher.
He's my.
I believe he's confirmed.
He is awesome.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
I've seen him confirmed.
The whole thing's very quiet. There was rumors or whatever that like he was talking to Marvel or whatever. I think it's being very quiet because they're actually they're signing him up to bring him into the MCU. Why would they bring Daredevil in and not bring in the Punisher?
Right. Okay. And that's the thing. Here's the thing. I feel like we're going to get that. I feel like we're going to get Daredevil. And I feel like everything else is up in the air. And it's unfortunate because story-wise, the one I want to see continue the most is Luke Cage.
Daredevil should be rated R too.
Yes.
Daredevil is a grimy, like seriously, a grimy, like voodoo infused,
Well,
like
here's the thing, though. He's been grimy for 3 seasons, and we've done most of the serious hard arcs that Daredevil's been through. And this has come from someone who's a ridiculously huge fan of Daredevil. You can explore San Francisco Daredevil, you can explore early years Daredevil, you can explore lighter versions of him if you want to bring him into the movies for a bit, and then sink him back down into when his identity is exposed and things later if you want. But Punisher has to be rated R.
Oh,
Yeah, Punisher. There's no way to do a light Punisher.
No.
Whereas with Daredevil,
if you do
apparently
Punisher-
Matt Murdock.
GQ, if they do Punisher PG-13, I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah, it's not going to make any sense unless they do a rated R cut separately. You know, but
right, you watch the extended Blu-ray. That's it.
Yeah.
Right, but I also believe that Matt Murdock is supposed to be making appearances on She-Hulk in some of their cases, the court cases too.
Yeah, he is, and honestly, yeah, definitely. I mean, and you know what?
Why not? They're both lawyers.
Exactly.
I mean, honestly, it's going to be interesting seeing what they do with that character because I mean, I'm with Eric. I love Daredevil. I grew up reading the Frank Miller run of Daredevil. So like,
okay, so you know how much of Daredevil's Frank Miller origin has already been done in season 1. You know how hard they took his Elektra run with season 2 and the Hand, and you know they did Born Again so masterfully in season 3.
Yeah.
After that point, how much left do you have to explore of Frank Miller or the Bendis runs of Daredevil? You know, you've only got so much before you have to make the character flexible to different tones in order to get to other stories. Like, you could still do Shadowland, or you could do, like, more modern Daredevils, which I haven't read a lot of issues of this, but when he has a black suit and the red belts, like, wrapped around his wrists.
Yeah.
That's when it gets a little bit darker again. I just feel like if he's going to show up in a Spider-Man movie, let him be like the darker character that still fits in a Spider-Man movie.
Well, what about Ghost Rider? Can you do Ghost Rider PG-13? Really?
I think you can, but I think you shouldn't try to.
No.
I think you should walk the fine line of as edgy as you can possibly get in a PG-13 film and walk that border of almost being rated R, but
it's
not necessarily.
More that the most horrific things that you do with Ghost Rider are still ghostly and supernatural, and you can pull a PG-13 and still get graphic when it's like CGI and fake.
But hold on, Cyber. With today's PG-13, can they really portray Ghost Rider properly?
Well, in my opinion, I mean, yeah, they have a point that they can get away with some things in a PG-13, but to give real honor to the comics and to give Ghost Rider a good cut would be smart to do an R-rated cut. Just simply for the fact because there are so many things that Ghost Rider does, like certain things he does with his powers, such as we had talked about previously about his Eyes of Doom.
The Penance Stare. The Penance
Stare, I should say. That alone right there, he shows them horrible things that these people have done.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
That right there alone, that would give you a hard R just to be able to show that properly. So,
So how did you feel about the depiction of it in the 2007 movie?
It was mediocre.
Okay.
I thought it was mediocre.
To me, the way they made the eyeballs look, I know I was younger at the time, but I can't get that image out of my head. And I know that that's not us actually seeing what the people did, but that's kind of what I'm saying. You can get the horror across. I'm just saying you could if you tried. I don't think it's
that's what I
don't think it's the best way to go. But
well, you know what?
Possible.
If you really break it down, today, current day, you can get away with a whole lot more in a PG-13 film than you did maybe 10 years ago.
I mean,
as long as you don't have to edit it down the way Venom was, to where
Yes.
basically you just hear a noise off screen and you're supposed to understand someone got eaten without seeing Jack.
Right.
Like,
it's not impossible. I mean, I think back to movies like The Dark Knight and how it's so close to being an R-rated movie. I think like that's a very hard PG-13. If you push some elements a little bit further, you get into a light R rating. And I think you could do something like that with Ghost Rider.
If you say out loud things that happen in The Dark Knight, it sounds R-rated, and when you watch it, it doesn't come off R-rated. Like if I tell you a dude carves a person's face open end to end in a smile, that sounds R-rated, but all you see is a big thud and an off-screen like dun dun, and then like
you see a scar and that's it.
See, my point is with this is this. Yes, they could do a PG-13 Ghost Rider and play it on the edge or whatever, but my point is this. I want to see the best representation of Ghost Rider possible. And at that point, you have to make it R-rated. You have to. Because Ghost Rider kills people. Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like, straight up. He kills people. And not only does he kill people, he uses chains and punches them through heads and stuff like that. Like, I mean, when he does the pen and stare, he makes rapists remember raping women over and over again and everything in hell. Like,
I think it's fair. I think it's fair to say kind of what Jeff was saying. In terms of getting the best depiction of Ghost Rider, you don't really want limits on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
And the horror aspect too. I don't think you could infuse the kind of horror that should be proper for Ghost Rider without an R rating.
Well, I could go on for 8 hours about horror in the MCU and how much I wanted to see Scott Derrickson's take, and how I'm kind of excited for Sam Raimi, but like that's like a year's worth of conversation about that, so it's probably not good for us to go on that.
Yeah.
I'm still look. I'm confident that Doctor Strange 2 is going to come out and be good. I am, but it's also not going to be R-rated. And the thing is, Sam Raimi has excelled when he has freedom to go with the style that feeds him. He did great with the Spider-Man movie, so I have full faith in him. But Scott Derrickson did Exorcism of Emily Rose, Deliver Us from Evil, Sinister. He's like the king of making PG-13 horror movies work. In a scientific poll where people had their heart rates monitored, Sinister rated as the scariest physical rated movie on human beings in an experiment that they did. I think overall,
I have some homework. I need to watch that film.
It's not that it's great. It's mostly jump scares, but it's by heart rate, by science. They made.
I think Scott Derrickson's vision for Doctor Strange 2 in the Multiverse of Madness did not fit into the Multiverse of Madness trilogy with Wanda, and I think that's why they pushed him out.
Yeah, I can see that.
Part of the reason why I'm excited for Sam Raimi to be part of Doctor Strange 2 is you go back and look at what he did with Evil Dead, and you take some of those like wackier elements that are still kind of scary, put them into a Doctor Strange movie with a Wanda, and you have no idea what's going to go on. I can see it working in a weird way.
Yeah.
Army of Darkness, Evil Dead 2, all those.
I just think the Doc Ock scene. The Doc Ock arm scene.
Go back to Spider-Man 2 with the Doc Ock scene.
That was a hard scene
in all of comic book movie history. That's that I'm aware of.
All right, so check it out. Bringing it back to Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Okay, we get to the point where, again, John Walker is asking Sam and Bucky to join up with him and Battlestar to take on the Flag Smashers. And
then he does the thing that every character like him does, which is, well, you're not going to work with me? Stay the hell out of my way.
Yes.
Well, that was, you know what? I think that was basically them finally like letting the veil off, like with him, because he's gonna get crazy. He's gonna get violent and savage and everything. Like that's coming. So like I think
it was like you can't solve all your problems with punches this time, and he's like,
there you go.
Yeah, that was another line. That was another line that came from Civil War.
Yeah, good point.
Where Black Widow was like, "You're gonna try to punch your way out of this one, Cap." I think it's brilliant how they're tying all that back together. I do think it's also very brilliant the way they took you through the different emotions that you had towards Johnny Walker, because in the end of episode 1, all you saw was him give a wink to the camera and smile, and you hated his guts. But then in the beginning of episode 2,
they humanized
talking about, oh, well, I don't want to let people down. So now you're like, oh, maybe this guy isn't so bad. And then it goes fast forward to the part where, oh, get out of my way. Oh, I hate him again.
GQ, did you catch the beginning? We talked a little bit about that. They really humanized him in the beginning of episode 2. I mean, honestly, like I'm telling you right now, I mean, I have a good idea of what's going to happen in the series, but I liked him. I liked John Walker. I did. I liked him.
Yeah.
Cool.
So they make you hate him, then you like him, then you hate him again. It's
yeah.
Yep.
Well, and here's the thing. So they walk away and they do something that made me half eye roll and half excited, where they play music that's not directly the music they play for Ozymandias and Hannibal Lecter and every villain ever, but it's like a version of that. And we finally get to come back to Daniel Bruhl and as Baron Zemo, and like you're like,
I caught that.
Of course he's playing chess.
Daniel
but
Bruhl,
of course he needs to be playing chess.
He's a talented actor. I mean, people
he's so good.
That. He is very talented. He's multi-layered and very talented as an actor.
And I was really excited when we got to this point because I heard a really cool theory from that. I heard that GQ has a really cool theory about Baron Zemo and his mask.
You want to go into that?
Yes, I definitely want to get into that. So, do you guys notice anything interesting or distinct about the mask that Zemo chooses to wear? Do you have a maybe an
other than it's straight from the comics?
Right. Like, do you have a hypothesis as to why he chose that particular mask and that particular style?
Well, I'm just gonna.
And then I'm asking.
Is there anything interesting about having a purple head with lines going down it?
What do you notice about his mask, Jeff and Cybernetic Shark?
As far as in the trailer?
Yeah, just the mask in general. The fact that his head is now a character who has a purple head with lines going down it.
Is it supposed to be referencing Thanos?
My theory is that the mask is an homage to Thanos and all the things that Thanos did for the snap and how people are talking about how things were better during the blip. That mask could be an homage to not only that, but also a tactic to strike fear into anybody he faces because it will be like reminiscent of facing Thanos again.
Oh, I mean, honestly, I think they have not even really explored or shown the depth of Zemo yet. Like he, as a character, he has a lot of depth. Like, I mean, the guy is, he's a powerful character.
That's the thing. I think he's so methodical that would be a tactic that he uses to psychologically mess with anybody he encounters
he might be the power broker. He might be the power broker.
He might be.
It's possible.
Maybe. Crazier things have happened.
I mean, think about it. If you want to connect him to Thanos and the blip and everything, he could be running the Flag Smashers from jail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing is we don't know if Baron Zemo was one of the people that was snapped away during the blip, so he could have been snapped away.
That's true. We don't really know.
Yeah, he was snapped.
A new roommate.
He was snapped. He was snapped. He came back in jail. He came, like,
wait, how do you know?
That's what I want to know.
You know?
Yeah.
How did you figure that out?
Because I do the MCU every day, bro. This is all I do.
No, but like, where's the?
Where
do we go?
I sleep it, man. Like, this is all I do. I'm MCU all day.
I'm saying I need the link. Where's the link?
Citation is what we want.
Hold on. Let me just reach in let me scratch my balls real quick, and I'll pull it out for you.
All right.
No, I'm just playing, Eric. You're my brother, man. Hey, listen, guys. This was great. I'm loving it. I mean, it's been a great time, but I'm gonna go ahead and call it.
Okay.
Just because, I mean, shit, it's it's almost 2:30 a.m. in the Eastern, in the Eastern time zone.
Yeah.
I just want to very quickly make it very, very clear that I very much thank Eric. I thank Curtis. I thank GQ. I thank my special guest host, Cyber, as always, for being here with me, brother. And GQ, brother, anytime, man. You want to come on? Just let me know. Just
appreciate it.
Just shoot me that message and tell me, send me that link, bruh, and I got you, man.
Yes, and we appreciate you, Jeff, and thank you, Cybernetic Shark, and thank you, GQ. Same. And we will see you guys, whenever we actually have the open availability to pull this
I'll
off.
see you on Rizzle, man.
Yeah.
What's up? We're all Rizzlers,
Yeah.
dude. This is an all Rizzle freaking live stream, dude. My first one.
Whenever I make it back on consistently, I'm gonna try every month, and if I make it past 4 days, I guess I'll be a Rizzler again. So,
All right. Well, anyways, to all of y'all who, I mean, a lot of people actually decided to check this live stream out.
Cool.
I mean, which was great. I mean, you know, I love it. You know, maybe I should start doing these late at night like this more. I don't know, but anyways,
yeah, on Saturday, there you go. But Wednesday, I think, is a good night. I
No,
think
it
you'll
is,
be
it is.
surprised. Hump day is like, yeah. So
yeah, no, I agree with you, Eric. I appreciate that. No, but thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you to my panel. Thank you to everybody out there who supports the MCU's Bleeding Edge. Thank you to all of you who end up watching this when it comes back through on YouTube and it's not a live stream anymore. Thank you for all of you who support my podcast, the MCU's Bleeding Edge. Bottom line, thank everybody. Thank God. God bless all of you. And I'm going to finish my drink and then drink another one so I can possibly catch a nice
I'm
ball.
down.
Yeah.
Y'all take care. Have
You
a good
too.
night.
You too. You too.
You too.
Bye.
Easy.
Later.